Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Project Blaugrana with you today, guys. And today I want to talk about Football Club Barcelona, but specifically about the left back situation for the upcoming 2026-27 season. In today's video, I will be talking about players such as Marc Cucurella, Alejandro Balde, João Cancelo, and also right backs, of course. Right back is as important as left back, and at Barcelona specifically, the roles are very different because when the left back attacks, usually right back defends, and vice versa. So it is very fluid and flexible. And when you have a certain style of left back, you have to have a different kind of right back. Hence, it is important to talk about right backs too. And the right backs I will be discussing will be Eric Garcia, Hector Fort, and Xavi Espart. I do not think I will consider options like Ronald Araujo or Marc Casado as right backs, or say something crazy like let's play Gavi or Pau Cubarsí at the right back position. I will not do anything extreme in today's video. It will purely be talk about the left back and right back options, how Barcelona played this season, and how we could see them play next season if we were to sign someone like Marc Cucurella, for example. And yes, this is where I will start in today's video, showing you a report from Rashad Rahman that says that Deco is in touch with Cucurella's camp and Hansi Flick admires the fullback. And on the one hand, it could be pure speculation and media talk because Atletico Madrid are also interested in Marc Cucurella, but on the other hand, I do think the interest could be real. And there are probably two main reasons why I want to talk about Cucurella specifically in today's video. Firstly, because I do hear a lot of people not like Cucurella and it makes me intrigued, and also my personal opinion because I am in the minority, because I really would love to see Marc Cucurella at Football Club Barcelona. And let's talk about it all. I will be moving on to the tactical board, but first let me talk about Alejandro Balde. And I want to show you guys this screen and information in particular because this season has been very difficult for Alejandro Balde. First, he suffered a hamstring injury and secondly a muscle injury, and throughout the time he has lost a lot of his confidence and a little bit of his physical fundamentals because despite being from La Masia, he spent majority of his career at the younger ranks of La Masia and Barcelona, playing as a winger, and he was moved down. And I do think that his main and strongest attributes have always been his physicality and his speed, agility, balance, basically physical attributes, and then things such as his technical and mental attributes have been left in the secondary role because Alejandro Balde does lack some concentration, composure from the mental side of things, and also he is very bad getting forward. I'm sorry to him, but he absolutely cannot cross the ball. But what he can do is invert and find pockets in penalty box. So he can be useful getting forward, but no top team will be scared of seeing Alejandro Balde get forward like teams are scared to see someone like, for instance, Alfonso Davies or Nuno Mendes get forward. So, or even João Cancelo. So yes, Alejandro Balde is very good player in the defensive third when he has to beat 2 or 3 people, when there is a lot of space for him to run into, but he does lack decision making and overall attacking prowess and attacking output such as goals and assists. And now enough talking, let's finally move to the tactical board once and for all. So indeed guys, I want to start on the tactical board to show how Barcelona played last season and also show you how we could play next season with both or even three Cancelo, Balde and Cucurella. Firstly, I will talk about this season. This season, when we had the ball, we saw Juan Garcia in goal, Gerard Martin as the left-sided centre-back, Pau Cubarsí as the right-sided centre-back, but usually he came in the middle for Eric Garcia, or most of the time, Jules Koundé, but I will be using Eric Garcia for this particular illustration because I do think Eric had more composed and better season, therefore it makes more sense to use him. Then we saw João Cancelo get further up the pitch, Rafinha tuck inside, Fermin be in these kind of areas, and Ferran roaming around and sometimes dropping deeper because Barcelona did not use a traditional striker that just occupied the box. Of course, there were instances where Lewandowski and Ferran were in the box, but most of the time they dropped deeper to help in build-up or create overloads in the midfield. So, with the ball, the team overall starts pretty deep, even with João Cancelo and Eric Garcia, and even someone like Pedri. So we do start relatively deep, but when we advance out of this area, and we have the ball further up the pitch, we do see players such as Cubarsí occupy more central area, Gerard Martin be here, and Eric stay in this position, creating this back three between these three players. And then what happens is João Cancelo comes here, Rafinha occupies this half space, Ferran stays here, Fermin stays here, Yamal occupies this area, Gavi is here, and Pedri is here. And then you have this very distinct 3-2-5 shape, if you wish to say so. Of course, this is very fluid. There is a lot of diagonality because always at Barcelona you could see maybe Eric pass to Gavi, but there was always the option of passing to Fermin if the pass was too strong, or Gavi did not receive the pass because there was a lot of diagonality between the players. But I will not be discussing this principle today. Today is all about this left back position. So this season, what we saw from this left back, which most of the time was João Cancelo, was the ability to stay wide, beat opponents one-on-one, put dangerous balls in the box, or overall be dangerous in this area. And the main thing that João Cancelo was responsible for was keeping the width here and helping Lamine Yamal not be the only one-on-one threat at this team. So overall, you can see that it does make sense. The right back is more of a defensive player, and you can afford to push on someone like João Cancelo as a right back. And you can quickly see why Alejandro Balde would not fit this kind of style. It is very simple, because he absolutely cannot attack, and he has no attacking output. Of course, you can put him in this area, but he will not put a great ball in the box. And if you put him here, because a lot of the times he was making this kind of run, you basically hinder Rafinha, and you have this chaotic situation where the team is not functioning properly, and Alejandro Balde is used in a very weird role. And now, someone like Marc Cucurella comes into equation. I cannot say that Cucurella is good getting forward, definitely not, but what he can do and what he can offer is ability to form this back three. And now I offer a simple solution, which would be playing João Cancelo here. Because you recreate something that you did last season, but you push on these two players and you do create overloads in this area. Then you can shift the team to this side, creating more chaos and you basically have your best player in this area, and you also have one of the most informed attacking midfielders in Fermin Lopez. And because we are talking about next season, let me put in another X factor, which will be Julian Alvarez. And this team becomes infinitely better because you have these mavericks on this side, but on this side you have more grit, aggression, and defensive stability in Gerard Martin, Marc Cucurella, and someone like Pedri. More calm, simple, and easy. Whereas this side is just attack, 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 dribble, dribble, beat your man on one, run fast, run into the box. Gavi too making runs everywhere, dropping deeper at times. So this side is about chaos and this side is about composure and finding Rafinha, who will create chaos a lot of the times. And as you can see, this becomes this 3-2-5 yet again. But you have extreme fluidity because Fermin can make runs, Rafinha can come inside, Pedri can be here, and you can also interchange. Maybe Cucurella can come in midfield. As of course, Cucurella is very dependable footballer and he can do everything at 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 out of 10 level. Very darn good footballer, has no significant weaknesses but also has no significant strengths. I do think his main strength comes into his ability to be very dependable player. Whenever coach asks something from him, he will die for the badge and do whatever coach will ask from him. Hence, I absolutely like Marc Cucurella on this side. Sorry. And my main idea with this is the fact that you can have a lot of different profiles for a lot of different games and you can rotate a lot because, let me put it simply, right? To make the shape very, very clear, you would have someone like Cucurella. Gerard Martin and Cubarsí form a back three. Let's put in someone like Frankie in the midfield. Then you have two midfielders in Pedri and Frankie. You have Fermin as the third midfielder. You have Rafinha in this area. Then you have Julian Alvarez as a striker, and then Yamal keeping the width, and then Joao Cancelo in this area. Of course, what is the biggest issue? You can clearly see that this side is not occupied and there is nobody holding the width, but in my opinion it becomes unnecessary when you have Frankie, Fermin, Cancelo and Yamal all in this area, and even someone like Alvarez can drop deeper and come into this area, and Rafinha can make these kind of runs, and even if absolutely necessary, Cucurella can get further forward and even put in a ball in the box. Because if Balde is a player that likes to come here and he can be semi-useful and he's absolutely useless here. In my opinion, Cucurella is the opposite. He can be decent in these areas and put a good ball into the box, but he becomes absolutely useless in these areas. So would you rather have a player that is useless in the middle or useless out wide when you already have a narrow team? In my opinion, I would rather be, at least talking in terms of left back, be useless in the middle, hence having semi-decent player in this area. And if you are going extremely attacking, you can even push Cucurella on and play Gerard Martin here and Pau Cubarsí here. As we have seen this season when we are chasing games or teams are playing low block against us, we have every single player in a position half and we just move the ball side to side, creating different overloads. So this would be my, you could say, preferred lineup, where you have distinct back three, you could say so. Of course, I am not confident with Gerard Martin being my central center back, what I would do probably is use Christensen, still one of my favorite players at the team, and I still believe him despite injuries. This would probably be my 11. Then you have Frankie or Pedri. Still, long term, I would love to see someone like Marc Bernal come into the team. Or even you could use Eric Garcia here. We have heard reports that he will be used as a right back, but you could, if you want stability, you can even use Eric Garcia. Multiple options that can start. You have Rafinha in this area, Julian Alvarez, Fermin, João Cancelo just maybe here, and then Yamal doing whatever he wants on this side. And this would be my solution number one. But what makes it beautiful is the fact that I do not want to sell Balde. I want to have many options. And in my opinion, it becomes intriguing when team is unpredictable and you can have different solutions. And now let me talk about the solution I can find with Alejandro Balde starting. Then, in my opinion, you use the classic players that we used this season in Balde, Gerard Martin, Garcia, and Eric Garcia. You basically have this back four with this guy more staying back but sometimes overlapping, and same with Balde. You ask him to be attacking, keep the width, but overall he becomes useless because he does not produce much in final third. Therefore, you have him here. Then I would use probably Frankie Pedri, Fermin Alvarez, and now let's bench Rafinha for our new signing Anthony Gordon. And then you have this team, which becomes infinitely more interesting. Let's remove João Cancelo because you cannot play with 12 players. Now you have this 4-2-3-1, where of course you still have this Genfa back 3, but Balde becomes the player that can play inside. And you have this shape right here. And in my opinion, it becomes very, very interesting because, again, you bench Cucurella, you bench very attacking João Cancelo, but you still have this, you could almost say, again, 3-2-5 shape. But this time, what happens is that a right-sided fullback is more defensive, and what you ask from Alejandro Balde is to stay in this area. And because he is extremely dependable on his left foot, you can always predict what he will do. So you basically ask him to look this direction. You ask him to use his left foot here, and basically either ask Gordon to drop deeper so Balde can find a solution, maybe make a run in here or in here. So you find him there and you can ask Balde to cut back the ball, not cross the ball, where he becomes infinitely better. Or you can push Gordon on and you can ask Balde to pass the ball in these areas, and then Gordon can be fast and beat his man and basically find a solution. Of course, benching Rafinha is a big step and very unpredictable and unexpected thing to do, but I do think that it becomes a possibility because you cannot play every single minute in every single game, especially considering the fact that Rafinha will soon turn 30 and he has been playing at such a high and intense level that at some point he will not be efficient enough and he will break down. Therefore, you have to have different solutions because injuries will happen. Therefore, the signing of Gordon becomes infinitely better, and you can see that both Cucurella and Alejandro Balde are extremely usable and extremely reliable players, but they both serve in different functions because the left winger and the right back are extremely intertwined with the left back position. Because look, right, the shape does not change. You have this 3-5-2. If you do the thing that I said set out to do before, you basically put in João Cancelo, you push him further up the pitch, you move Garcia here, Gerard Martin here. As I said, I do not like Gerard Martin in the middle, so you can play someone like Christensen, for example, and then you bring in Cucurella, you still have this back three, and you put in Mr. Rafinha, and you remove Alejandro Balde, and you have this 3-2-5 with overloads in this area. This would be my solution for the upcoming season, and this is the main reason why I want us to sign Cucurella. Not because I do not believe in Balde's qualities, even so I have made some tweets about Balde, criticizing him and his form. Some of them could have been maybe reactionary and over emotional, which can be understandable because when I watch Barcelona, I do get a little bit more emotional and irrational. And basically, I did not consider factors such as extremely low confidence and the fact that our system is relatively structured and we are asking from a player that thrives into the defensive third, and his best attribute is beating two players in this area right here. Basically, you have opponents. Balde, let's put him here. You have two opponents. Balde has the ball. He's very easily can knock the ball past them. You already are past two players. You can easily create overloads. It is fast, it is dynamic. He passes the ball there. Quick pass, goal. That's how Alejandro Balde can thrive. But a lot of the times it is not as easy and teams play deep against us. And when Alejandro Balde has to play here, he struggles a lot because he will not come inside because Rafinha is already here. And as I said, if you do something like this, it just becomes inefficient because you don't get the best out of Rafinha. Whereas if you keep him here, it is also inefficient because Balde will struggle. And now talking about some extra solutions. Of course, another thing you can do is keep it simple and play very risky someone like Cancelo here and keep Mr. Kunde or even yes, let's put in Kunde. You could put also Eric Garcia there, but let's put in Kunde there. Then you can still have this back three shape with Cancelo pushing on. Not something that would be new or original, something we saw last season. Or another solution I can have is playing Hector Ford here because he is very attacking fullback, very similar to João Cancelo, maybe lacks composure and dribbling ability, but we have seen him perform well. Firstly, on loan this season at Elche, unfortunately suffered an injury that hindered his development, but overall we have seen him play very well as a left back, for instance. When Xavi was our coach, he played very well against Atletico Madrid, so you can have Hector Ford there. If you want to go young and exciting, you can even put in Mr. Xavi Espart. You have more of a solid player here. You have Hector Ford pushing forward. It becomes interesting. Or if you cannot keep João Cancelo at the club, you can trust Hector Ford. Of course, I do not think Flick will do it because Hector Ford lacks work ethic and stamina, which are the main concerns for this particular player. But nevertheless, if he decides to prove himself and improves his fitness, he can be a very tidy and useful player. And then again, option of Cucurella becomes very interesting because you can play this back three and maybe put in someone like Anthony Gordon. Where is he? Number 14. I gave him pretty much, I'm pretty sure, maybe 17, no, 14. So you have this solution again. And in my opinion, it looks very damn good. And this is the reason why I want Marc Cucurella, because he has played also as a center back before in his career. And you could argue that why not just use Balde here? Well, firstly, you gain absolutely nothing out of Balde in these areas when teams play low. You basically waste him here, and I do not think he enjoys to play there. He lacks the concentration to do this role sufficiently enough. Hence, I do think that the optimal thing to do is to use Marc Cucurella for his experience, quality, and overall the fact that he absolutely loves to work hard and will do anything that coach will ask. Because if you look at players that Hansi Flick has brought in, Anthony Gordon, absolutely selfless player that will press and run a lot. Same with Alvarez. You look at this team, Fermin will do the same, and of course Cucurella would do the same. Plus, he comes from La Masia, another very interesting and important factor. So, finally, to give you guys the final lineup that we could use next season, let's say that we do not get Alvarez, you can still put Rafinha there And think of him as a hybrid between someone like Ousmane Dembele and last season's Ferran Torres, which sounds very damn weird to say, but still, it would look like this. Let's say you cannot afford Alvarez, he is gone. You have Cucurella, you have, let's say, someone like Eric. I do know that Hansi Flick sees Eric as a right back, but still, it is option to use him as a center back nevertheless. You would have him on this side, Kubarsi in the middle, then you have Frankie, Pedri, Fermin, Rafinha, Anthony Gordon, Yamal, and João Cancelo. And in my opinion, this team is very, very good. Of course, you maybe could do something like this because Fermin has played in this position too. Then sometimes you can have Pedri drop deeper and Cucurella play here to play make. Gordon come here. Gordon come inside. Fermin come here. Rafinha play here and Gordon play through the middle. Another option. You could do something like this too. There are infinite amount of options that you can do. You can even play Cancelo here and ask Yamal to come deeper. You can even ask Frankie to come deeper and Eric pushes forward. You have such a great ability to play total football with this team. And in my opinion, this probably is the most interesting 11 that Football Club Barcelona could potentially put out for the upcoming 2026-27 season. To make it more clear, on paper it could be this 4-3-3 shape that looks like this. Of course, Cucurella, João Cancelo, and it works very well. And even in build-up, what is even better, you can have Rafinha here, Fermin here, and you can drop players very deep and do something that I think Chelsea did. You basically ask players to play through the back, and then the opposition players will tactically press these two players. And in my opinion, Rafinha and Fermin are press resistant enough to basically receive the ball in these areas on their preferred foot, right? And then to play a decent ball in these areas with their preferred foot. For instance, you play the ball here, 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 everywhere. You find Frankie or Fermin, then the ball goes here, and then Fermin can basically spread the ball out wide to Yamal. And same with Rafinha, he can play the ball here. So in my opinion, this is the team you can use, and this finally is the reason why I would like to see Marc Cucurella at Football Club Barcelona for the upcoming 2026-27 season, because you can have ridiculous tactical fluidity and infinite amounts of solutions. I mean, you can also create this WM shape here. You have this M, you have W, for instance, right? You can do literally anything with this team. It is ridiculous how flexible it is. You can have so much fun with it. I would genuinely pay to watch this team. You can even do something like this. Oh my goodness, the total football in this, it's crazy. You can, oh my god, it is crazy. Like, do you even see this? It is beautiful. This is what I would do for the upcoming season. Thank you guys for watching this video. I could yap on and on and on about how beautiful this team is, but these were my overall thoughts on Marc Cucurella to Barcelona. It was a pleasure. Visca el Barça, Visca Catalunya. Have an amazing day, week, and year. See you guys. Maybe tomorrow, maybe after a week. You never know. Visca Barça y Visca Catalunya. Vamos.